Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
Good morning. It's times like this I wish I had the legal background of Glenn Kirshner, because I've watched a lot of Judge Judy, but I don't know. Trump can still testify now that everybody's rested their arguments, right? Because he promised he would testify.
I know, Carl. Are you implying that he may have lied?
What?
No.
I don't know. He's not known as a liar. Maybe.
Oh, God. Can I just say, too, just between the second Alito flagpole and the Supreme Court, the hush money trial in Manhattan drawing to a close, it is a stunning rebuke, Norm Eisen says, to how the Supreme Court has tied up his federal January 6th trial. I mean, Carl, it's hard to pick a most important crime. They're all important. But trying to having another election before you are held to justice for trying to overturn the last one seems to me on its face. He said this week brought milestones good and bad in two of the criminal cases against Trump, wrote Eisen. The negative milestone in Washington regarding the federal prosecution of Trump in D.C. for interfering, overturning, the United States government, that one. On Monday, the Supreme Court blew past a critical date by which the president teaches the dispute over Trump's claim of presidential immunity should have been decided. However, the New York case turns out its rapid movement should serve as a rebuke to the ethically conflicted Supreme Court justices who are obviously and unduly stalling the Washington case. The truth is we should already have had or been close to a verdict in the federal prosecution brought by Jack Smith. At a minimum, given Roberts' repeated statements of concern for the credibility of the court, he owes the public a transparent accounting of how Alito and Thomas can be allowed to continue to sit on this case. This has gone much too far already. Each day without a ruling on immunity from the Supreme Court is an intentional delay that most likely ensures Trump won't be held accountable for his alleged attempts to steal the last election ahead of the next one. I mean, at this point, the Supreme Court and Eileen Cannon are on Trump's defense team. And it's...
Absolutely. And their friends in Congress are setting up coup 2.0. They just had a hearing last week, I think, in the House Admin Committee where they brought in a bunch of right-wing figures who are tied to the Project 2025, who started talking about how there were millions and millions of illegal immigrants that voted in the last election and will vote in the next one, and trying to make the case before we've even gotten to early voting that the election is stolen from Donald Trump. And so that plus what you've just described from the courts is horribly frightening.
But, we always talk about alpha liberals, and I think Jasmine Crockett is Exhibit A, is how, what's the new thing we say? When they go low, we go Jasmine Crockett. I mean, and we have a lot of fantastic alpha liberals, but, God bless Dick Durbin. I've met him, have known him for years, but, we've got to stop talking about it and do something. He has the power to have hearings and bring Alito in at least. I mean, I get it, the votes for impeachment. I'm so tired of us like, oh, we can't do that and we don't have the votes for this. First of all, let's turn out in huge numbers and get enough votes for the things we want. But we've got to do something about this, don't we?
Yes. I mean, we're basically allowing them to hide behind their robes instead of answering questions. John Roberts won't do the right thing by instituting real ethics controls in the Supreme Court. And it's not just this case. I mean, good grief. Federal judge after federal judge are conflicted on all sorts of things while the right-wing legal movement shops for judges to try and take apart the Biden administration. So, yes, there should be hearings. Yes, they should call the Supreme Court justices who are ethically challenged in for interviews so that we can get to the bottom of this instead of having, nothing happen at all.
Yeah. We opened the show, Carl. You came from a Republican family. So did I. I mean, is the just complete degradation and end of the Republican Party just complete now with Nikki Haley's endorsement of Trump and Mike Johnson, like we played, right? You're a deeply religious man. How can you defend, the hush money porn star, whatever? No comment. Right. That is the profile and cowardice that is this party.
Yeah, it's I would say I'm not surprised, because I'm not surprised that Nikki Haley fell in line. Anytime there's been somebody, just about, who is not ready for retirement, they have fallen in line because they're afraid that Donald Trump will sour the Republican base on them. And so the only people that you see who have actually stuck to their guns, and continue to hold Trump accountable on the right are people who don't have to worry about Trump doing that to them
Yeah.
because either they're at the end of their careers or they've moved on from politics.
Yeah. Uh, they've become the what did I say? Pro rapist,
Pro-cancer.
pro cancer, pro
Yeah.
puppy killing
Yep.
party. We keep saying, we all have our Love Trump's Hate t-shirts, but that will be the question on November 5th. Does it? Or this story it kind of hurt my heart. I wanted to actually talk to you and Dana about it, but transgender teen booed after winning girls track race at state championship. I mean, when you have the biggest bully we've ever seen, as the head of one party, is it any wonder we have all these adult bullies now? And I'm like, oh, good. Well, maybe she'll kill herself. Will you be happy then? Like, it just, seriously, this specter of adults bullying children is something I feel like feels newish to me. A transgender teenager was booed at an Oregon sports stadium after winning a race during the state's high school track and field championship. Multiple videos on social media showed Aiden Gallagher being booed by a crowd of onlookers as she crossed the finish line and also when she received her gold medal. Libs of TikTok, the far-right account that is dedicated to mocking LGBTQ people, said, listen to the audience boos as they announce him as the winner. Him, of course, misgendering him. People are sick of this madness. So there we are, right? I mean, and what teeny tiny segment of the population is this? I know we've said in some states there's like one person that this is what you're getting, people whipped up about.
Well, Trump has certainly set a very low bar for our public discourse and how people should be treated. And I think he has given permission to an entire generation of Republican activists to bully anybody they disagree with.
Yeah, the founder of Outsports said for conservatives to attack her as a cheater, saying she couldn't make it as a boy, so now she's a girl, is just disgusting. Yeah. This is the kind of rhetoric when you're a teenager and you hear it on the stands, you see it in social media. This is the kind of stuff that causes kids to hurt themselves. Yep. The criticism is misdirected. Their real problem is with the rule makers, not this kid. I mean, and that's, I guess we aren't above bullying children. It's. Anyway, we have about half the U.S. states have bans on transgender students participating in school sports. I mean, here's the thing, Carl, with your campaign strategist hat, a majority of Americans, 69%, say trans athletes should only be able to compete on teams that correspond with the sex they were assigned at birth. So, they found one issue that they feel like, oh, this is a winner. Let's bully the, teeny tiny, less than 1%, whatever, of kids that are trans, right?
I mean, I'm old enough to remember that, there used to be attacks, and, to some extent there still are, on lesbian, gay, and bisexual people to this level where state after state were passing laws targeting us in large part because the country was pretty divided on whether lesbian, gay, and bisexual people would be treated with legal dignity in this country. The year I was born in California, there was a ballot measure that thankfully failed. It was shocking that it failed. That would have prohibited lesbian and gay people from teaching in our schools and from other teachers for defending lesbian and gay teachers. And so in the years that followed, we saw dozens of ballot measures all over the country bullying LGBT people. So they will consistently look for people that they can do this to, and it's reprehensible.
Yeah. No, exactly right. What the other poll we were talking about, Carl, is this one saying, I don't know what percentage of Americans think the economy is not doing well, and it just, despite every statistic, and not just a little bit to the contrary, how do you go from 13% unemployment to 3 something, and we have somehow our work cut out for us on getting the actual facts out there?
Well, I think the actual anxiety is not economic. I do think there's anxiety out there.
Yeah.
There's worry about our way of life as a country. And the attacks on our democracy, the specter of another Trump presidency, is anxiety inducing. And it does make people worry about the future of our country. So are there worries about the economy? Maybe not about the percentages and who's unemployed and take-home pay and these other issues. There's certainly anxiety over the longevity, the ability for this country to continue in a way that people are comfortable with.
I saw somebody on Twitter say like, "Oh, don't tell people everything's great." The Democrats don't tell people everything's great because that insults them, because they know how they feel. And I'm like, I don't. And again, this used to be the right wing used to be the your feelings party, right? Because clearly it is not based on any facts that the economy is not doing well, right?
No, there's certainly there's price gouging going on out there.
Yeah.
We're seeing some companies now lowering their prices, and it's very clear that their price gouging has had a detrimental impact in some respect, as they've been going on and on doing it for years now, and so they're bringing some of their prices back down to reality. Mm-hmm. So American consumers have certainly been impacted by price gouging. But the administration's done a great deal to expose the price gouging and to combat inflation.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Carl, you will always be a delight. I'm just going to say that preemptively. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Yeah.
Because I always say he has always been, but I'm just going to say till the end of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always will be.
Until the end of time. That's depending on who's elected president, that's either a long time or
time after
just
time.
corner.
Time after time, my friend. mooksforcarl.com.
If we could turn back time.
Yes, that too. Woo! Yeah. Love you, Carl.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
You are invited to Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour. It's the political comedy event of the year, and it's coming to a city near you. Join Stephanie Miller, the queen of progressive talk radio, along with Hal Sparks, John Fugelsang, and the comedy duo Frangela, mocking all the fascists and trolls for a tour that is hilarious, inspiring, and deeply offensive to just the right people. It's an all-new tour with all new guests and a side-splitting evening of stand-up. Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour.